Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amy Frazier, and I'm the events coordinator for the Culpeper Chamber of Commerce. On behalf of the Chamber, I would like to welcome you to the second episode of our Women's Lift series. This is the second of 6 sessions where we will be featuring dynamic and influential women from the Culpeper community and focusing on how to coordinate your life so that you do not need to take a break from it for self-care. You're already practicing it. We hope that you will have the chance to join us for all of these installments of the program, but also the presentations are being recorded and will be posted onto the Chamber YouTube account, webpage, and social media. So you're able to watch them at a later date and share them with your friends and colleagues. I want to take a moment to thank today's event sponsor, Wellspring Health Services, as well as the Women's Lift series event sponsors, Novant Health, UVA Health System, Culpeper Medical Center, Culpeper Star Exponent, Rappahannock Electric Cooperative, Thrivent Financial, and Partners First Federal Credit Union for making this event possible. And thank you all very much for being here. Without further ado, I'd like to pass it on to Lifecoach Jackie Coate. Certified through the Health Coach Institute as a health coach, mastery coach, and transformational coach, she has spent over 30 years helping people achieve promotions, get through family issues, get their first job out of college, or when coming here from another country, save money to achieve a goal, learn English, get out of debt, and her favorite was giving them the gift of belief that they could do more than they ever thought they could before meeting her. As a visionary mindset coach, she is able to help people who feel stuck, overwhelmed, and lost see life through a new lens and get out of their head and into action towards their true desires that they deserve with ease and grace. If you have any questions or comments for Jackie during this presentation, please type them into the Q&A box and we will address them at the end. Jackie?
Hey everybody, how is everybody doing? So thank you so much, Amy, for having me, and I'm super excited to be here. I will be dropping my information in the chat if you need that up ahead at any time. You can copy and paste that and take it. But I wanted to just really touch base with the first presentation that Jamie did and really give a shout out to Jamie for the first session of this series and how she talked a lot about the thoughts that we have and asking that question, is this true? Is that true? And so when I go through the information today, I'm super excited to take that information she said, and I want you to apply that to the things that I'm talking about today. This series is going to be amazing, and I'm super excited for you to learn how to put yourself first and know that self-care is not selfish, it's selfless. So let me start out. I'm going to share my screen here. All right, so today we're going to talk about the 10 tips to remove stress through self-care. And I am Coach Jackie. And I want to tell you a little bit about myself first. She gave a little snippet about me, but the one thing that a thought pattern and a belief system, like Jamie spoke about last time, that I carried on for many, many years is the struggle. That I had to struggle to be successful. I had to struggle through life. And I'm here to tell you the struggle is not real. There doesn't have to be a high level of stress. It doesn't have to be hard all the time. You know, I work with some of my clients and I say, how many times in a day do we use the word it's hard? This is really hard. And I would love for you to take that, kind of test yourself this week and go, be aware of how many times. She talked a lot about awareness as well, and aware of how many times do I say in a day, oh, this is going to be hard. That's tough. This is a struggle. And that does not have to be real. So some of the tips that I'm going to talk about today will give you the opportunity to learn how to live your life with ease and grace versus struggle. Because for me, it was 30 years of the restaurant business and leadership management. And now I've turned that into my own business, my coaching business. But what I would work really hard, 60, 70 hours a week. And just so that I could be successful in the career that I chose. What I loved about it is the mentoring and coaching, like Amy had spoke about, the mentoring and coaching of other people and giving them that gift of belief. But what I didn't realize I was doing to myself was putting myself on the back burner so that I could serve everybody else first so that they can have better lives. But I was neglecting my health, neglecting my relationships, neglecting my physical being. I was neglecting my mind, my everything, emotional. And so today we're going to talk about self-care in the 5 big areas of life. So we've got your physical self-care, we've got your psychological self-care, got emotional self-care, got spiritual self-care, and we have relationship self-care. So we're going to go into detail a little bit on each one, but I'm just going to throw a couple examples out there of each one. And then at the end, we're going to wrap this up with the top 10 everyday tips for self-care. And some things you're going to go, I didn't realize that was considered self-care. Taking care of us, we don't realize, and doing little things, the way we eat, the way we move, we don't realize that's simple in self-care. So let's start with physical self-care. Physical self-care are activities that help you stay fit and healthy with enough energy to get through your work and personal commitments. A couple examples of that is a regular sleep routine. We're going to talk a little bit more at the end of that. Aim for a healthy diet. Take lunch breaks. I can tell you for the many, many years, and people go, you work in a restaurant, you have food around you all the time. Well, I would never take breaks. I would just work through the 10-hour day. And how many of you can relate to like having food in the car, like you rushing in the morning and pre-quarantine when we had to rush kids to school and take our commute to work, and you're just shoving like a coffee, you're drinking a coffee and shoving a bagel down your throat, or if even that, usually it's just the coffee was our breakfast. And we take lunch to the desk, and we're eating at the desk, and we're working, and we're just like eating super fast. We're going to talk a little bit about that later too. Taking your dog on a walk after work, using your sick leave. I had to coach recently a client through actually using her time off. She had accrued so much because she wasn't taking the time off for herself because she was worried about her work establishment, that she was not gaining any more, accruing any, because she hit her max. And she had the opportunity to earn more time off if she just took some time off. So one of her action steps was to put in your request for a couple weeks of time off. And happy to say she's starting her vacation on Monday. And so after not taking a vacation for 2 years, she told me, I was like, no, girl, you need to take some time for self. I don't care if you have no plans, take the time off. You've earned it. You deserve it. You need it so that you can be the best employer or employee for your jobs and your business. And get some exercise before and after work regularly. A lot of times you might be in a business where you're sitting in a chair a lot. Like, get up once an hour. There's so many cool apps now and phones and watches that tell us to get up and move. So listen to them. So psychological self-care, those are activities that help you feel clear-headed and able to intellectually engage with professional challenges that are found in your work or personal life. So what are some ways that you can help with the psychological self-care? Keep a reflective journal. I laughed when I first heard about journaling in my coaching career. I started with my training and working with a coach, and there was a lot of talk about journals. And I don't know about you, but when I hear the word journal, I kind of go, not for me. I'm not journaling. Because it reminds you of that diary as a kid that you wanted nobody to read, your deepest, darkest secrets and all that stuff. So, and it's funny because every client I've had, they've taught, no, I'm not a journal person. Well, now I'm happy to say I have 7 of them, but different ones, and I can do them at different times that help me. I'll do one day, I'll do one 2 days later. Self-care, which you're going to hear in all the series, is self-care is designed by you. And we have a life by design. You get to choose, and you get to decide what you do for you. So we're here to just give you things to pull from and tools and ways to implement self-care and take care of yourself. Next one is seek and engage in external supervision or regularly consult with more experienced colleagues. This helps you, and there's another one I'll talk about where it helps you engage the brain and work more on improve yourself psychologically, and then engaging with a non-work hobby. Do you like to paint? Do you like to create things, build things? Like, what is your thing? What brings you joy? That creativity part, a lot of times we stuff that part down and we don't do it because we just don't have the time. And I know we spoke a lot in that first one with Jamie last week about that. Like, is that true? Do you not have the time to do what brings you joy? Think about that. So turn off your email and work phones outside of work hours. Do you set a time if you have your own business? I know we have a lot of business owners. Do you have a time that you say, at 6 o'clock, computer shut down, phones turned off, I don't do work? Do you, and a good practice is to start in the beginning of the day when you wake up and decide what that cutoff time is. I understand that life is different almost every day, but can you get it to as consistent as possible of when you start your day and you end your day, and respect that? Because we're going to talk about relationship self-care in a minute, and that's a big part of relationship self-care. Make time for relaxation. I loved this past weekend because I took a day, and I don't watch TV. I took a day where I binged Netflix the entire day. And there was like 2 times I remember throughout the day where I felt guilty. I felt a little bit like I could be doing this. I should be doing this. Let me tell you, don't should on yourself. And you basically get the option to relax. It's like part of your self-care, and you have to take that time to disconnect so that when you reconnect, you're your best self. Make time to engage with positive friends and family. Protect your bubble, protect your energy. If you've got someone that's bringing you down, reduce the amount of time or remove the amount of time you spend with that person. And surround yourself by amazing women, amazing people. And this organization, I've met so many, I can't even count amazing women in this organization with Culpeper, that Culpeper Chamber. And that's what you want to surround yourself with. Let's move on to emotional self-care. Allowing yourself to safely experience a full range of emotions. That's developing friendships that are supportive, attitude of gratitude. So who does a gratitude journal? If you do one, I get a lot of, oh, but I don't write it down every day. That's okay. I do challenge you for 21 days or a month of some period, commit to writing down every morning in like just a notebook on the side of your bed, a 99-cent notebook, a piece of paper, whatever, 3 things that you're grateful for and good things that you've done in a day at the end of the day, whichever one you want to do, the beginning or the end. And what that'll form is this natural being in your brain, natural habit in your brain of saying, oh, that's good today. Oh, I appreciate that. I'm grateful for that. And it'll become natural. And you might not write it down, but you definitely will think about it. So that, and if you're not in a natural habit of thinking of the great things that are happening, and you're always kind of in that mode of like, oh, I didn't do that, and I suck at that, and I could have done this better, or this and that, those are those thoughts, right? By practicing daily the writing down, that starts to create that habit and rewire those thoughts. So then all of a sudden it's just natural. It's natural to be like, oh, you look pretty today. You start to tell yourself you look pretty in the mirror. Or you start to go, oh, I really like my hair today. Or you start to say, oh, this meal is awesome. You start appreciating things that maybe you didn't really normally appreciate before. Play a sport or have a drink together after training. Go to the movies or do something else. Of course, I know, quarantine, but social distancing, but go to the movies and do something else you enjoy. Like if you don't normally turn on the TV, which I don't, and you have the urge to just to sit down and watch a couple movies, do it. Don't feel guilty doing it. Keep meetings with your mother's groups and social groups. Talk to, and virtually, like I know that this has been a challenge and maybe a little stressful for some people, not being able to connect physically with people. But what I've found is that I've been able to actually get deeper connections virtually, doing one-on-one coffee chats and making some really good friendships during this time frame. And then rather than when I've gone to big meetings with lots of people and I've maybe met one, I've made really strong relationships. So anything's possible. If you need more help with that, just reach out to me. I can tell you how to make those connections. Talk to your friends about how you're coping with work and life demands. So this is vulnerability is a tough thing, and that's hard for people. Opening up and being really honest of where you're at and what you're experiencing can be really scary. And because it shows, it makes someone feel weak, shame, judgment. And here's the beauty of it. If I can just leave you with one statement for the day, there's nothing to do with self-care, but it helps those thoughts, is your vulnerability, your pains, your challenges, your traumas, that's your superpower. That is completely your superpower. And when you have the ability to, and you don't have to tell your whole story, you don't have to all your, everything and laid on the table for someone, and from the age of 3 all the way till now. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. But when you have something that you are battling and struggling with, tell one person and get it out. Because when you get it out, you are healing yourself. Every time you say it, you are healing one step closer to healing, and one step closer to healing, and accepting that as part of your life. And then you get to decide to choose different and think different. Because the thing about our past, and this is a little off of the self-care, but yet still, the past doesn't determine our future. The past has given us the ability to know what we like, don't like, want to do, don't want to do, all that stuff. But from this moment on, you get to choose how you think. You get to decide what you want to do. You get that chance. And nothing that's happened to you is determined in that. But to help you get to this point where you know that you get to decide is really opening up and having help, whether it's a friend, family member, therapist, coach, whatever it is. Very important. Spiritual self-care. This involves in having a sense of perspective beyond the day-to-day life, knowing that you have a higher power, whatever higher power you believe in, but that spiritual self-care, knowing that has your back. And engaging in reflective practices like meditation, going on walks, having a community with a church, temple, mosque, doing yoga, reflecting with a close friend for support. And that goes back to that, what we just talked about. And this is one example of an app. There's Insight Timer. There's tons of stuff, obviously, on YouTube, and just learning mindfulness. But having some kind of, I call it aligned time. So I have decided that between 8 and 10 in the morning, being that I have my own business, I've designed that my mornings are my aligned time. And in that aligned time, there is some body, mind, and spirit practice. So something to do with my body, something to do with my mind, and something to do with my spirit. So that could be reflection in a journal. It could be a meditation. It could be part of a workout routine, going for a walk. I incorporate one of each thing into each morning so that I start my day, it's self-care and hitting all the points. And so this is part of my practice in the morning. Relationship self-care. This is about maintaining healthy, supportive relationships, ensuring that you have diversity in your relationships so that you're not only connected to work people. And this was a big one for me. For the 30 years of that business, you're consumed with the people that you work with. Like, you are with them more than your families, more than friends, more than families, more than your loved ones, because it's at least 40 hours a week. Mine was close to 60 to 70 hours a week. And I know, why did I stay doing it for 30 years? Because I loved it for the people that I worked with. I love the development side, and I learned so much, but it consumed me. So like, that always came first. And so to ensure that you prioritize those close relationships in your life, partners, family, children, and yourself. I mean, this is about self-care. Spending time with those people that matter to you is self-care. But spending time alone and just being with yourself, like we talked about in the previous slide, with meditation, with just connecting with nature, it's so important. And so that relationship with yourself is the number one relationship, and God. And so attend the special events of your family and friends. Arrive at work early and leave on time. That was a good one. That's a good one. We always have this, no, there's just one more thing I got to do, one more thing I got to do. When you put work as a priority, you're putting your relationships in your life secondary. And it's important that that time that you have set and that commitment, or the integrity of like, okay, I want that you're committing to the relationships, that you honor that as much as you honor work. And it's crazy. For me, it was like, work was my priority for many, many years. So I neglected the relationships in my life, including myself. And open communication with your relationships. The clearer communication that you can have with the people in your life, the better. And the less stress. All of these things will reduce that stress. So I kind of condensed it down to the top 10 self-care tips for stress. First one, get enough sleep. And I say that in the sense, ideal hours for your body. Everything is about you. What's good for you is going to be different for the good than what's good for the next person. How much I need might be different than what Amy needs, and so forth. But you have to listen to your body. Your body will tell you what you need. Power down an hour before bed with no electronics, and that is you could read, you can listen to something that like an audiobook, or read, like I'm an audiobook person. You can meditate, but no like TV news, things that are going to feed into the way you sleep that night. That's how you have those uneven sleep patterns and stuff. And plan in the morning when you wake up what time you plan on going to bed. So maintain proper nutrition, eat food that energizes you, listen to your body, and slow down when you have meal. Take time for your meals, because that gives your body the time to assimilate food and digest, and breathe before you eat. That'll reduce the stress, and so your body can digest, and your nervous system can work the right way. Exercise regularly, 30 minutes a day of movement. Be a kid again. Don't drudgery. I have to go to the gym. Do something fun. Do what you love. Do you like hiking? Do you like hula hooping? Do you like jumping on a trampoline? Like, what do you like? Get your movement in the way you like it. Maintain social support, friends, family. We've talked about that. Find hobbies. Do what you love. Art, walking, music, reading. Pamper yourself. When I first heard the word self-care on my little journey, it was like, I don't have the money for nails. I don't have the money for massages. I automatically thought it was all the things that cost money. That's a whole nother topic. But for this, it's taking a bath, sitting quietly with nature, having alone time, and and you can do your nails at home. There's so many cool things out there now. Keep your mind sharp. Learn more about your craft. Mind share with other women. Like, do work with other women in groups, and then audiobooks. These are just some ideas. There's so many more, but these are just some tips. Have a right attitude. We talked about the attitude of gratitude, doing a gratitude journal, appreciation. What appreciates. And believe before you can achieve. There's a lot more. I've had to do a lot of switching in my belief system when I went from a job to a business. Of if I worked, I made money. I got a paycheck. Well, in business, I had to believe I was going to achieve what it is I wanted to achieve, and the results came. That was very different for me. So there's a lot of belief and faith in self. So with anything we do, and that self-care, the more confidence you gain by taking care of yourself and physically feeling great, will help you have a better belief system in self and make choices that serve you better. Process your emotions. We talked about that. Be vulnerable. Don't stuff it down. There's ways that you can work with your thoughts and learning how to, there's a whole nother thing that I talk about getting out of your head, like Amy talked about, and getting into action, that you can rewire those thoughts and choose different and accomplish a lot more. But if you stuff down the things that need to come out, they always will creep back up and take over what it is that you want to achieve. Maintain a spiritual practice. We talked about that. Connect with that, which is greater, God, universe, meditate, grounding exercises, or just simply breathing, because that was a really foreign category for me. But just simply breathing, deep breaths, 3 deep breaths, 5 seconds in, 5 seconds hold, 7 seconds out. Do that 3 times, and I guarantee your stress level will go down at least 50% if you're in a stressful moment. I did that a lot in Northern Virginia traffic. When I commuted from Manassas to DC, I was breathing a lot. I'm much happier in the country. So thank you for listening today. And if you need, here's all of my information. If you ever need to contact me, I'm also going to drop it in the chat. I do offer 60-minute initial free sessions called vision call sessions. And in that session, basically we'll figure out where you're at and be really honest with it. Figure out where you want to go. What do you want to achieve? And have at least one breakthrough to help you get out of this thing called the head and into the action you need to take so you can have more of what you want and desire. And everybody has at least one breakthrough in that call. So I highly suggest taking the benefit of that, because if anything, it'll move you forward somewhere in one of those areas of life. And that's all I got for you today. So thank you so much. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and share my information in the chat and hand it back over to Amy.
Good. Well, we didn't have any questions pop up, but as I close, if you do have any questions, make sure to type those in so Jackie can address them before she gets off. But first of all, thank you so much, Jackie, for today, for your presentation. This was awesome. And thank you to everyone who attended. And a big thank you again to today's event sponsor, which was Wellspring Health Services, as well as the Women's Lift Series sponsors, Novant Health UVA Health System, Culpeper Medical Center, Culpeper Star Exponent, Rappahannock Electric Cooperative, Thrivent Financial, and Partners First Federal Credit Union for making these events happen. We hope that you guys have a wonderful week, and we hope that you'll be able to join us again next week, which will be Thursday, June 4th at noon. That will be our third session in the series, and it will be presented by Dr. Karn O'Brien. So thank you again, Jackie.
Very welcome. Very welcome. It was my pleasure.
And everybody have a great week.
Bye, everybody.